Welcome to Day 5 highlights of Henley Royal Regatta. It is semi-final Saturday and a chance to reach tomorrow's showpiece and race for one of Henley's 27 prestigious trophies. We've got 52 races scheduled today, so let's get straight to the starting line. First up, the Universities of London and Bristol in the Prince Albert.
The Prince Albert Challenge Cup, University of London against University of Bristol. Away they go. Second semi-final. And we've got University of Bristol to the right of your picture. Student Open quads. Just having a look at this early. The four here, both fours away from the start pontoon pretty cleanly. This is a toing and froing, cat and mouse sort of a race.
Yeah, and the question now to me is whether or not University of London can continue this momentum. There's so much about momentum in these and when you're racing in these match races. It looks as though Bristol is trying to hold on, trying to respond, but University of London seems to have the momentum. But now it looks as though Bristol is starting to move back a little bit.
Yeah, no, they've got back into the lead. There's so much at stake here.
And right now, it's going to take a miraculous sort of effort from University of Bristol to pull back into it. Looks as though University of London has their fans here. They're cheering for them. You can hear the crowd right now as they pull into these last few strokes of the race.
So the purple of UL, University of London over the line in the Prince Albert Challenge Cup. Really good race, though. University of Bristol made it a good race. They led at midpoint, albeit briefly. Well done to University of London.
So the University of London booked their place in the final, where they go head-to-head with Edinburgh for the trophy. Now, Henley still looks magical despite the weather, but the grandstand, the tents, the course doesn't come together by magic. Last week, we caught up with Ed Warner, head of operations here at Henley Royal Regatta.
My name's Edward Warner. I'm the regatta's head of operations, and so I look after all of the operational delivery of things like the regatta course, tentage, all of the site infrastructure, and alongside one of my colleagues, Imogen Mercer. It's a year-round process. People are surprised. They say, what do you do for the rest of the year? But we start our builds end of March out on the river and on the land, and build up all the way through until we're ready to go at the beginning of July. One of the biggest parts of the regatta build is the course construction. We build it every year. It's a temporary structure made out of timber piles that we drive into the riverbed, and then we float booms, which are 60-foot long bits of Douglas fir between the piles. The racing course is 1 mile 550 yards long, and so we've installed that to give the crews their sort of stadium, if you like, to race down. But out in the navigation channel, the river still stays open for all of the passenger boats that are coming from far and wide to come and spectate, or they're passing through. There are about 4,500 rowers that have entered the regatta this year. So we've had entries from, I think, 768 crews. We've got enough space in the boat tents for about 400 boats. Clearly, 768 leaves quite a lot of overflow that we need to deal with. So we have qualifying races, which happens on the Friday before the regatta, and that will eliminate a large number of boats, leaving about 450 or so left in the regatta. So there's a little bit of a shortfall, but once we get through the Tuesday of the regatta, when about, unfortunately, 80 crews get knocked out, we'll have 80 races or so on the first day, that then solves the space problem, and we've got room for everybody again. From the end of August, you'd come here and you wouldn't know the regatta had been, bar a few footprints of some tents on the grass where it's died. So we build all of the tents, all of the kitchens, bars, restaurants, grandstands. There's a huge amount of infrastructure. There are shops. All of that has to be built between end of March, start of April, ahead of the regatta. Everybody needs to have had a super Henley experience. It's a really special day, whether you're a rower or a member or a guest. That's the thing that makes the team in the office in particular tick. What's going to create a good experience for all of those people, regardless of what they're doing here at the regatta.
Well, if only I'd got the call, Ed. I was all ready to help. Well, the other people that have been working hard on the course are the athletes, and in the Forley, Hinksey took on Molesey for a right to face off against defending champions Windsor Boys School tomorrow.
This is the Forley Challenge Cup. Hinksey Sculling School on the Berkshire station, and on the back station it's Molesey Boat Club. Away they go. Junior open quads. She's always taxing for the steering. Both doing okay, getting reasonably close together.
There you can see
keep an eye on the
Molesey,
umpire just a second. The flag from the umpire, Molesey being sent back to their side of the water, and I think they're doing that gradually.
They're coming into the stewards' enclosure. They know that the end is near. The race is almost over. Will Molesey allow this to be their last race? Will Hinksey allow Molesey to move through?
So Hinksey have had the upper hand just for most of this race. Some great charges from Molesey at different times have narrowed it to half a length lead, but well done to Hinksey, who are almost there, not quite. Molesey battling on gamely, trying to capitalise on any error that might creep into Hinksey's performance, but it is faultless. Over the line they go. Hinksey Sculling School win their semi-final of the Forley Challenge Cup. They'll be up against the Windsor Boys School tomorrow. That'll be a tasty final.
Lauren Henry continued her brilliant form in the Premier Women's Single Sculls, the Princess Royal. The British Olympian was too strong for Lithuania's Victoria Senkuta.
She's got a commanding lead there. Leicester Rowing Club in the form of Lauren Henry getting the applause. A look over the shoulder. Where's the finish line? There it is. Over the line they go. Lauren Henry, well done. Into the Princess Royal Challenge Cup final tomorrow. We'll find out who she's up against, whether it be Gawley of Australia or Nielsen of Denmark.
Lauren will face Frida Nielsen in tomorrow's final after the Dane conquered Australia's Laura Gawley in the other semi.
And a really skillful row there from Frida Sandgaard Nielsen of Denmark. She will progress to the final tomorrow in the Princess Royal Challenge Cup.
Meanwhile, in the Temple for Student Open 8s, Oxford Brookes looked imperious against Dutch challengers Laha.
Brookes have got this one, the semi-final. They'll be up against Neros of the Netherlands or Harvard of the USA tomorrow. We'll wait for that semi-final. But over the line it come Brookes. Good performance from them.
So who would earn the right to take on the reigning champions? Would it be the other Dutch semi-finalists, Nereus, or the US crew from Harvard?
Another truly international lineup for this semi-final, the Temple Challenge Cup. And you can see there the Dutch on the Berkshire station and Harvard University of the USA on the Buck station.
This is creme de la creme of Henley Royal Regatta racing. We have a match-up between Harvard and Neros, and this will be a bit of a grudge match for Neros because this exact Harvard crew last year was the one to also knock them out of the Temple Challenge Cup. So let's see how this plays out. We can see here on the screen Harvard rowing in an Oxford University blue boat. Here, this is the lightweight first varsity, and they have been posting some incredible times over in America. I hear from one of the coaches, Patrick Lepage, that they went sub 5:30 twice this year already. Look at that, they are absolutely firing, taking inches per stroke from the Neros crew. Is this the pivotal moment of this race?
They're getting the applause from the crowds. The Dutch are still going, but it's looking likely the Americans can hold the show together right until the end. Brilliant move mid-race from Harvard. Enough to sink the Dutch. Over the line they go. I reckon we'll have some whoops and hollers as they go over. They'll be pretty chuffed with that. Great race. You delivered that. You said right from the off that was going to be a good one, and indeed it was.
So it'll be Harvard who have the opportunity to unseat Temple champions Oxford Brookes tomorrow. To finish off the morning session was the first semi-final in the oldest trophy here at Henley Royal Regatta. Cambridge University took on a Dutch national team in the Grand.
Cambridge University, a lot of hype about this boat up against Hollandia Rowing Club from the Netherlands. And the patience from both crews there just to squeeze those first few strokes off the line as they start to wind up. When we raced eights, we used to really be patient through strokes 1 to 6 or 7, and then really through 8, 9, 10 is where you start to wind as the boat starts to reach its peak speed and you start to move your hands with the speed of the boat.
Cambridge are really hurting, they're suffering, there's not much more to give, and that's the luxury of having a fantastic start in the 8. Even though they put so much pressure on the crew from the Netherlands, they're able to respond with one lift. It's not over, but it does look like it's going to go towards the Netherlands in this race.
Listen to the crowd. Whenever the Grand comes down the track, the crowd stops and they cheer no matter what's going on. The Dutch still with an edge over Cambridge. The crowd's going wild as they're coming past the grandstand.
Blades are starting to go high in the sky from both crews. It shows there's fatigue, it shows there's tiredness, and that causes a little bit of risk if somebody's going to catch a crab or not.
They're driving down to the line. As they come across the line, it will be just the Dutch. What a race here from Cambridge to hold it to a national team crew like they did. Amazing performance from the school 8. But they won't be able to take the Dutch on this occasion in the Grand Challenge Cup.
I've come to the boat tents because finally there's some space in here. There were over 750 entries for this year's regatta, but just 400 boats can fit into here, and there's loads of gaps now. But whose boat is going to be in here this evening, and who's going to be in tomorrow's finals? Let's get back to the all-important afternoon semi-final action.
We are up at the start for the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup semi-finals. And we have a crew from Leander Club and Mercantile Rowing Club on the left of our screens, who will be going up against Marlow Rowing Club. It's intermediate open quads. They have made a push, they clawed back, but they still have more to do. A few looks. James, he wants to see where they are. He's looked over his shoulder a couple of times. They know they have more to do. They've done a push, and you have that feeling now. I've put more effort in, but I need to find even more.
How wicked. I mean, in the end, they've gone through the gears. They are asking the questions, and Marlow seem to be answering them. They've got it. They're holding their cool. They're holding their composure. As the noise picks up from the bank, they seem to be holding that. They seem to be doing incredibly well at just holding this race, controlling it. Then they've got a few strokes left to the finish as Leander for everything up.
Such an impressive execution of races in both these boats, but Marlow Banks will be alive with everyone who lives in Marlow Town, who is a member of the club, with their alumni and everyone watching here as well. And Marlow booked themselves a seat in the final of the Prince of Wales Challenge Cup after an incredible race. Still had overlap at the end from that Leander and Mercantile Rowing Club crew.
This morning we saw Hollandia win the first semi-final of the Grand. Up next, it's a combined crew from Leander and Brookes who'll be facing Australia for the right to take on the Dutch Masters tomorrow.
And so it is the semi-final of the Grand Challenge Cup. We have Leander and Oxford Brookes representing Great Britain against Rowing Australia. It is the matchup that was going to have repercussions beyond today. It's going to set the tone for the World Championships later to come this summer. It's even setting the tone on the journey to Los Angeles 2028. There is so much experience. Chris O'Brien, of course, is the coach of who we saw, you know, in the launch following the pair, who is leading the rebuild of the rowing at Rowing Australia in Australia at the moment. He himself, so much experience, the most experienced, the most successful Australian coach ever. He spent some time away from rowing. He was CEO of British Gymnastics, and then he came back because Australia rowing gave him the call. They needed something special. They want to be winning. They want to be back beating the Brits. And they've come to our own home territory to show that they are back with a vengeance.
This is, yeah, the Aussies, they come up to the line now. They wanted to do this, turn the Brits over on their own water. The Aussies love that.
They will love every stroke here as they cross in the semi-final of the Grand Challenge Club. It is rowing Australia who led from the first stroke over the Leander and Oxford Brookes British crew.
So it's going to be an all-international final in the Grand, Australia winning the second semi-final. The rowing standard today has been exceptional. Anyone in those finals tomorrow really does deserve their place. Let's get straight back to the afternoon action.
It's the intermediate women's eighth event, the bridge, the inaugural new event this year. It's Oxford Brookes A versus Cambridge University. It's an alternative boat race of sorts in this semi-final at Henley Royal Regatta. You can see them levering back. I think Oxford Brookes have started to take the rate up, and the question is, can Cambridge respond? We can see that levering back from Allegra O'Sullivan in the bow of the Oxford Brookes crew. My goodness, the crowds are going crazy. We see a Cambridge Blazers there. We can see Oxford Brookes stripy Blazers there as well. Everyone is at the bank side here. They've got so much support. They are going toe-to-toe. We still don't know who's going to come out on top. They are throwing everything in. Cambridge are now really lifting their rate too. It is neck and neck all the way. Every stroke counts on this. It is going to go to the wire. We can see Katie Hempson in the bow, who is levering away. She needs to keep those bows up, as does Allegra O'Sullivan. The steering is difficult. They are so close together. They are throwing everything in. They are exhausted, but need to take the rate up and up again. And it is Oxford Brookes who just sneak across the line.
Absolutely incredible. That's one of the closest races I think we've seen today or even this week. Unbelievable effort from both crews there.
My goodness, there's our photo finish to decide and confirm the result.
It's now a chance to see one of the stars of the regatta in action. Oliver Zeidler, the Olympic champion, is looking to book his place in the final and be in with a chance of winning his 5th title in the Diamond Challenge Sculls.
Absolute focus on the face of Ollie Zeidler on the right of your screen, who is up against Hamill, Finn Hamill on the left of your screen in the semi-finals of the Diamond Sculls. It's the premier open single sculls event, and we have just 2 of the best scullers in the world.
A lot of eyes on both of these now. Certainly that win yesterday for Finley has really perked people's interest in this race. About a length and a bit down here, but that was similar yesterday with Van Dorp. It didn't seem like he was in a rush to take the lead.
Wow, Finn Hamill is now almost alongside. This is unbelievable what he has done, how he's dug in and dug in and dug in and overlapping. My goodness, he is in a race, the Olympic champion. We haven't seen him race before Henley Royal Regatta. We don't know how much he's trained. He wasn't at the Europeans. He wasn't at Lucerne. This is his first race of the season, and Finn Hamill is taking it on. Finn Hamill is getting himself ahead. He is now able to see the back of Ollie Zeidler, just like he did yesterday with Simon van Dorp. It is incredible. He giant killed yesterday. He has now got himself in front of Olympic champion, and Ollie Zeidler is looking behind him now at Finn Hamill. What an unbelievable performance. What an unbelievable athlete. This is incredible. Ollie Zeidler is hurting. This is not in his plan. This is just unbelievable.
Absolutely amazing. What a race. What a fantastic race by Finley Hamill.
What an athlete Finn Hamill has only been representing New Zealand for 2 years, but we all know his name because he beat Simon van Dorp on the Friday of Henley, and in the semi-finals he has just beaten Ollie Zeidler. We have seen something really special.
I was obviously the clear underdog there, and I knew sort of how the race was going to unfold, basically how it did. Ollie would take a pretty big lead and I just have to keep chipping away and have a crack through the middle, and obviously he was a bit further ahead of me than Van Dorp was yesterday, but had a nudge and saw him getting closer and closer, and then it came down to a sprint at the end there, and I was exhausted. I think he was obviously as exhausted, and just managed to sneak ahead and hold on to it. It was pretty cool.
The shots and the thrills just kept on coming. First in the Prince of Wales, Reading University and German crew Bonner and Erste Kieler thrilled the crowd as they headed past the grandstands.
It is the German crew, Bonner Rudergesellschaft und Erste Kieler Ruderclub from 1862, who timed that final sprint to book themselves a spot tomorrow.
In the Reminen, a combined Leander and Molziate were in a thriller against rowing Australia.
10 strokes to go to the line, but in the Premier Women's event, the Reminen Challenge Cup, it has been a super row, a sensational row. Second to none for the British 8 as they crossed the line. The second race for 4 of those women today, and they beat Australia's Premier crew, overturned the Grand Challenge Cup where the men, Australian men beat the British. Molesey Boat Club and Leander Club beat Rowing Australia in the Reminen.
And then Newcastle and Oxford Brookes produced an absolute barnstormer in the island.
The women are looking out, we're looking out, we're coming to the finish. It is Newcastle, it is Brookes just ahead of Newcastle, I think, but will Newcastle get up? Oh my goodness! That was, I think, Newcastle. So there is the Newcastle bow, and it is Newcastle. Oh my goodness!
And watching on, a new face at the regatta, a Hollywood legend. Well, Bill, you've got a Panama, so you're looking the part as well.
Yes, I got beat up by some Dutch fellas twice.
All right.
And I got to ride in an umpire's boat, which was really a lot of fun, and it was the race of the day. And it was only a 1-foot victory.
I'm sure you've been to many quintessentially British events, but how would you describe Henley?
Well, I mean, when I think of British events, I think of Coleman's mustard and fish and chips. But this is probably the best British event I've been to that I could think of. This is really a lot of fun. The whole town's in. It's obviously a beautiful looking thing, and it's exciting, and there's a lot of good sportsmanship, and those things all sound pretty corny, but people are having a very good time. I like it when a whole town gets involved.
Shiplake College already had their junior women's 8s through to finals day. Could the boys join them? They were up against St Paul's in the Princess Elizabeth.
A lot of pedigree in these two crews. Shiplake got 5 returners there from their crew last year that made the final. St Paul's won it 2 of the last 3 years. The St Paul's crew do have their work cut out for them now. It does look like a good 3/4 of a length, perhaps, that Shiplake have put into them at this point. Very, very difficult to really change your fortunes in an 8s race at this stage with that kind of margin. It looks to me like it's still maybe half a length in it, and I'm not sure they've made enough of an impression at this stage, St Paul's, to realistically be in with a shout of overturning this.
This will be a sensational finish if the London school overturns this verdict. Shiplake look to be set fair for the final. It's that bulletproof rhythm that Hugh Mackworth-Praed has instilled into them. In the boat we've got Luca Hunt-Davis at 5. His dad, I think, won the Grand and Olympic gold in Sydney.
A lot of grimacing now, a lot of grimacing in that Shiplake boat. They are working hard.
And the crowd are going wild, aren't they? They're urging St Paul's on, they're urging Shiplake on. It is a length, Shiplake have moved out, they did find something extra. And the boys from Shiplake come up to the finish line in this semi-final of the Princess Elizabeth Cup. A famous victory. They go into the final yet again. St Paul's, the holders, go out of the competition. Heads will go down. Shiplake beats St Paul's in the semi-final of the Princess Elizabeth.
Semi-finals day is done. 27 trophies are up for grabs on Sunday, and one crew will go down in history as the first ever winners of the Bridge Challenge Plate. It's been an incredible day. Roll on tomorrow. We'll see you then.